It's a blessing to welcome on one of the newest members of Mizzou. He was a former UMass starter and star out there last year. He's coming in as a sophomore, and Ronnie DeGray. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Can't complain. Let's kind of get into this. It's been a long, hectic process. You obviously had a pretty solid season out there last year at UMass. You decided to put your name in the portal, like a lot of guys have, and now you're a member of Mizzou. And this new look roster that Coach Martin's putting together. So let's kind of take us through this. Like, how are you feeling right now? How excited are you?
Extremely excited. Being able to play for a really good coach and playing in one of the probably the best conference of basketball right now is SEC. So being able to be a part of that is extremely exciting. And going to Missouri, it's a lot closer to my family and
Mhm.
a lot of my family lives in the South. So it'd be really cool to have all my family come to games now.
Well, I want to go through your story a little bit to get to this point. And as you said, you kind of grew up a little bit closer to there. Obviously, you're from Colorado, but kind of just take us through this. Like, what was it like just growing up out there in Colorado and really kind of living through your basketball career out there so far?
Well, if you know, Colorado's really it's not really known for basketball. It's
Hmm.
really under recruited state. So definitely trying to get out of Colorado is a grind. My went to school at Chaparral High School. I went there until after my junior year. I had some offers, some low D1s, low mid majors, but I thought I was better than the offers I had. So, I went on a couple unofficial visits to Pitt, uh, Missouri, and Kansas State, and they just pretty much told me they're interested, but they don't think the talent I play around is very well, so they're not too sure to be on me. So I kind of was like, I'm tired of always hearing that, so I just asked my dad and talked to my family just about if I could go to prep school, and really just showcase my talents. And some college coaches recommended me to go to Woodstock Academy, and so that was my senior year. But I started uh, my senior year in Colorado. It was like early August, and then I went on a visit to see Woodstock. They don't start till like late September,
Hmm.
um, and I really liked it. It was really just a grind of showcasing basketball, and it was a really good academic school. So within a week, I made my decision and moved out to Woodstock, not knowing anyone, but betting on myself. In the long run, I think it really helped me out. And if I could do it again, I'd probably want to go earlier.
Absolutely. And let's kind of go back to why you're originally in Colorado because that's where your dad played college basketball. Obviously, he had a nice career out there, played professionally out there for 6 years then as well. He went overseas and played. So what was that just like though? Having him in your life that's ultimately lived out the dream you want to play collegiately basketball, also play professionally. Like how impactful has it been in your career so far?
Definitely really impactful. I was just always around basketball my whole life.
Hmm.
Um, and kind of just fell in love with it, being overseas and, seeing the different type of playing styles and how physical and, how fundamental all the guys are. And then, going back to Colorado and just how much the American game is different from the European game.
Hmm.
But I think really, because I was younger, um, I really liked football. I used to love football. Um, that was my number one sport. But when football started getting cold, I hated it. So I was like, I want to play indoor sport. So really, just basketball is the right thing for me because I was always around it, and I played it, but I really like started taking it seriously and not playing any other sports my sophomore year. Um, just really just focusing on basketball. And my dad just told me, he knows, the path and he's been through it. If you really want to play college basketball, you really got to dedicate all your time to it. Get all the extra reps. It'll pay off in the end, and kind of the rest is history now.
And so you mentioned the overseas aspect, and there are some parts to your game that we see that you really come a system guy. You obviously can go produce points on your own too, but like you're a great facilitator. You know how to pass within an offense. You can also move. Like you know how just to read the game plan, and kind of mentioned like you learned that a little bit from seeing overseas basketball, seeing the way your dad played in that aspect. Is that where you say you kind of gained that, like from watching guys grow up that play that more fundamental basketball? Did that kind of what helped translate into your game today?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
Mhm.
Maybe because I was just so young.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it could be an aspect of analyzing the game and everything. I think I don't know. I just like they always told me I play the game the right way,
Mhm.
which can be a good thing, but also a bad thing because people kind of just want you to go out there and score and stop thinking about everything. I do that a little bit too much and just overthink. But I think just in general, um, my IQ of the game kind of just came naturally. I don't know if I could say the European aspect, but my dad's a really smart player, and he's always told me what the right and wrong things to do. But at the same time, you got to know when it's your time to go score.
Mhm. You also mentioned that you did take some time on the field as well, and that's something we do see a lot of basketball players. Clearly, football and basketball do translate pretty well with each other, and you had the same kind of reason that you want to stop playing that a lot of guys do, and it's just you don't want to play in the cold. But is that really like something that if you decided to play football, obviously 6'7", you're 220 right now, probably would have been a little bit even more than that had you stuck with football. Like, is that something you ever look back and say, what if I did play football? Like, how far could I have gone in that sport?
Definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, I definitely think I'd probably be like 30 pounds more heavier,
Yeah.
just because that's how football is. But um, I think the thing about football is like with my size, I can always come back to football.
Hmm.
Uh, with basketball, if you stop playing for a while, you're kind of just really out of the loop and, not in the flow. You kind of got to get your rhythm back. But with football, it's uh, you can always come back to it because you guys play like tight end or something, techniques and blocking and catching, but it's not too much as in basketball where you got to get a real rhythm of the game.
So is this something you've maybe thought of before? Like obviously we do see a lot of guys that if professionally playing basketball after college isn't something that's available or maybe even is a better opportunity football wise. Like have you ever considered that maybe playing at the college level or maybe even after college trying out as a tight end, trying out as a defensive player, like trying out to play football post college career?
No, that hasn't really come up.
Mhm.
Still the goal is mine to play in the NBA, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Dudes in the NFL, those are huge dudes. I don't know about. I got to bulk up to get like them before I'd ever think about that.
Absolutely. Well, let's kind of go back to your high school basketball career. And like you said, growing up in Colorado, it's not really a heavily recruited place. There's guys that do make it out of there, but generally it's not a heavy recruited place like you mentioned. So you go out there and you're kind of dealing with that. As you put up insane numbers, we'll talk about each year a little bit more, but you put up great numbers throughout your time at Chaparral. But when you're a player that's not getting the attention you probably deserve, not getting all the offers, how'd you handle that for the first few years of high school?
Um, when I was young, like freshman year, like I didn't really bother me too much because I got my first offer freshman year for basketball. Um, but more as I started getting older and figuring out what I wanted to do, it started to bother me a little bit because schools that recruit me, I didn't really see myself going to. Um, you know, but I knew in the end that I was gonna end up going somewhere that could help me show my talent. You know, I did everything possible I could on the AU circuit. And, played in Adidas and played at the top players like Jalen Green and all of them. But just being from Colorado, just it's like almost like a head scratcher for college coaches to recruit. So I knew, maybe it was that time to go out to Woodstock. But definitely, came up in my mind of, maybe it's time to go somewhere else. Because like you said, I put in pretty decent numbers, and we played for Elite Eights and state championships and stuff. But just how Colorado is, it's not like the greatest talent level.
There's really two sides. Like we see a large amount of kids each year go through this underrated process where you're a guy that either has to end up going to a mid-major school or something like that, and eventually you quickly become a high major, like we're seeing a lot of guys right now. And that story's become pretty common. We see the Damian Lillards, the Currys, the CJ McCollum. Like that's a typical story. But it's two sides of it. Sometimes guys just have a massive growth spurt all of a sudden, massive growth in the game. But for your case, like you've always had the talent. It wasn't a talent factor for you, like you said, just being Colorado. So when you truly are an underrated guy and you're like, okay, I truly believe and I know I am better than a lot of these guys ranked in front of me, a lot of guys getting bigger offers. How did you deal with that when you're on the court? Like when, especially when you go on the AU side, like how did you handle that knowing that I might not be as high ranked as you, but I know I'm probably better than you?
I just kind of just went in the game, you know. Plus, I don't really follow like slam and all the hype, but you know, just going into the game knowing that I can play with anyone.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter who they are. You know, at the end of the day, it's still basketball.
Mhm.
They're better players than most, but you know, if I play my game and show my talent level, you know, it'll show that I can play with these dudes. You know.
Yeah. So let's head into a little bit about each of your first 3 years of high school. Your freshman year, average about 8 points, 5 rebounds. Overall, not the best winning season for you guys. 9-16 that year. Kind of walk us that freshman year for yourself.
Freshman year, you know, playing, you know, all seniors. I'm nervous. You know, don't want to mess up. Plus, you know, wasn't really taking basketball that seriously. You know, I was still in the football basketball mix and didn't know what I really wanted to play. You know, and I was honest. I really couldn't shoot my uh, freshman year. If you look at like the stats and the statistics and percentages, it wasn't like amazing. Um, Plus, you know, we started three freshmen, and the rest of our team was seniors, so it was just you know, really hard. You know, trying to learn the game, but in the end, you know, we learned a lot of lessons to be better our next year.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, like I said, a lot of learning came, but it was a new experience, you know, playing basketball at a faster pace.
And that jump clear was evident for you, especially the sophomore year. You guys go right about 500 then, but personally for yourself, you jumped to 15 points a game, 6 rebounds, and then a steal block and an assist per game you average. So what led that jump? Like, why were you able to take that massive leap in your sophomore year then?
I think, you know, I started really like figuring out if I wanted to play basketball. So I started, you know, really working out, you know, during the off season and getting more reps in and, you know, shooting the ball with more confidence. Um, Plus, you know, I think I had a bigger role
Mhm.
my sophomore year, you know, because my freshman year had a lot more seniors. So, you know, the seniors kind of want to go get their points. But my sophomore year is like a lot of teammates I play with on Billups and, you know, just a bigger role and a big scoring role to go out in and go in and out every night, playing against, you know, the good competition, but, you know, being able to be the leading scorer for our team.
So going back to the Colorado picture a little bit, like if we see clearly see like there are guys that come out of that are very talented. I know this 2021 class has guys like Jalen Weaver. Like there are guys that have talent from Colorado. Is would you say the reason you guys don't get the spotlight is that media is a problem with the media? They're not giving enough attention. It's just that there truly isn't as much talent as other states have. Like, why do you personally feel Colorado doesn't get the recruiting aspect and recruiting respect that they probably should or that they maybe don't?
Definitely in media. I think we started my last year that I played AU, a senior year before I went to another prep year. We started having a media guy for it's called basketball car, not basketball, something in Colorado,
Mhm.
which you know follows a lot of our games and stuff. Um, but I think just you know with the aspect of um, even in high school basketball, there's um, you really play like two tough games in high school basketball. Like if you're a really good team, you play like two tough games that uh, you know you might win or lose. But other than that, you should win every game. Just you know I think the way that Colorado basketball is, it's played a little soft. If I drive the rim, it, usually 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna get a foul no matter what.
Mhm.
It's kind of just with refs, and they don't really let us play, and it's a lot of like tic tac fouls and stuff. And think about like even like the really like great basketball states. How they have so many uh, AAU teams with Texas has like I don't know a lot of Nike teams and a lot of Adidas and all that. Colorado, we had one. We have Billups. Oh, it's called College Bound now, but it was Billups Elite. That's one AAU team out of Colorado. Unless you want to go play at the neighboring states, like a lot of like the XM Elite, or the ones in Phoenix. But there's not a lot of exposure from the Colorado states. I mean, Colorado teams.
Absolutely. So you head into your junior year and you have even a bigger jump, and that's the best overall team year, personal year for you guys. You go 21-5 as a team. You jump to 21 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks per game. Walk through that big year for you guys as a team and for you personally.
Definitely more mature team. All my teammates were juniors. And that's, like I said, with the football basketball mix my sophomore year, but my junior year, I completely just focused straight on basketball.
Mhm.
Um, just off season reps, working out every day, trying to get quicker, faster, and stronger in the weight room. Really was our goal, was to win a state championship. I mean, we lost Elite Eight, but um, you know, we were all determined where we wanted to get. And I was determined what I wanted to get through this season, and being able to have more coaches see me. Plus in high school, especially like Colorado, if it's not like a big state and you're not averaging a lot, you're not like really seen.
Mhm.
So I know I had to get my numbers up, but we also had to win at the same time. Kind of just took on more of a leadership role um, for my team, and how I and everyone else agreed how we wanted our season to be. Playing in a Tarkanian Classic in Vegas, and playing Elite Eight. We wanted to showcase our skill at the highest level. Every year. We ended up having a really good year, and I ended up having some accolades, but I had a better year than every each past years, and I just wanted to improve every year.
So then you make the big jump that I'm personally a huge advocate for. I think a lot of guys should take a prep year to go to a post-grad team, like some form of like playing another year sometime in your high school before you get to college of elite competition, because that helps you both in the practice place. You're playing with a lot of Division I guys. Obviously, just game to game, you're playing a lot of top guys too. So like you mentioned, you got there to Woodstock then, and you joined a lot of elite guys, including some of your past teammates at UMass then. But just walk us through that. Like, why was Woodstock the school you chose? Like, there's a lot of big schools out there you could go to. Why was that the program you wanted to go play for?
Um, I didn't really know what program I wanted to play for.
Mhm.
I just knew I wanted to go to a really good prep school. That's a lot of college coaches go to see.
Mhm.
I wasn't looking for like a Montverde or IMG. Because you got to really be like a top 50 guy to really even be able to play there. But um, I kind of just, like I said, I was recommended by college coaches to go there. And, it ended up being really well. My whole team, all, how many guys we have? 12 guys we had on that team. All 12 guys went D1.
Yep.
Um, the probably the Odie was probably the second lowest score on the team when he went to Wake Forest. So telling how intense practices were, and how you really had to go in and grind every day. Like no day was ever easy. because someone was always trying to go at you to take your minutes. So every day was a grind, and plus I was a senior, so I actually had schoolwork on top of that, so it was really long days. But I kind of saw uh, where I wanted to be, but where I needed to be at the college level, because all guys that you play in college, that your teammates with are good. I pretty much say college basketball is like it's pretty much high school basketball, but like at a higher level. Like everyone's good now. Um, but just learning. No, and we're playing college rules, so learning the college game and the pace of it. It was the first year was hard for me. Just trying to adjust since playing Colorado basketball, it's not as physical. And now I'm going to the East Coast and playing Connecticut and playing against Brewster and IMG and Montverde. Learning how physical the game is and how fast it is. Um, you know, it really helped me prepare, but at the same time, I didn't think I was quite ready to go to college right after my senior year. So that's why I took a prep year.
And also just the big move. Like you grew up in Colorado, that's where you've been playing now, and now you're moving all the way to Connecticut, away from family and all that. How'd you handle that? Like, was that easy for you, or how'd you adjust to that?
Well, I always knew I wanted uh, to live in the East Coast.
Mhm.
So like moving really wasn't that hard for me. I think the hardest thing was it was my senior year, so I'm leaving all my friends, not graduating with them. Just seeing like all the things on social media of when I'm missing out on because I can't really be there no more. Kind of sucked. Um, but in the long run, I'm happy I did it. Like I said, it sucked at times, and I wish I could have been there, but especially because like my high school team, they would got the state championship my senior year, and they lost. But just me hoping I could have been there to help them win was really hard for me. But like I said, everything worked out in the long run, so I'm happy I did it.
You also mentioned a little bit earlier that you kind of maybe wish you could have even maybe gone to a bigger school like that earlier on in your high school career, but I guess at the end of the day, that like for anyone that's playing that wants to play Division One basketball eventually, how big is it? And should guy that wants to play Division One go to a school like you went to, or some form of a school that plays against the national schedule? Like, is that something you think all guys that want to play Division One basketball should eventually do?
I think if you're comfortable, like if you're in Texas,
Hmm.
you don't really do that. But I think like if you're really under recruited and you want to be uh, showcased at a higher level, I definitely think you should consider going to a prep school. Plus, how much it gets you ready for college, and being able to make an impact right away definitely helps. But all I say is like there's no glory in prep schools. You're not going to have all the media and like the thousand of fans that went to your high school games. Like it's really just you playing basketball and you getting better every day. Like at Woodstock, we barely had fans at our games. Maybe there'd be like 20 tops, unless we played in what's called uh, the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, where there's thousands of people. But other than that, most games there wasn't really anyone. So it's really testing if you really want to play basketball, to be honest. But it's definitely going to help you get where you want to be, um, you know, and play at the highest level that college coaches that recruit you think you are. So I definitely think if you are under recruited and want to play at the next level, definitely going to prep school route is smart to me.
Absolutely. Well, I mentioned too, like my biggest thing about going to prep school is that you get to go against a lot of top guys at practice too. Like you said, your entire guys to go in Division One. So let alone the games are great too, but every single day you're competing against guys going Division One as well. So how did that push you? Like going against a guy like Odie, going against a lot of guys that you end up becoming teammates with at UMass too, but all 12 of those guys, how much did that help you get ready for college while you're going up against those top guys day in, day out?
Definitely helped me. Pretty much stopped me from being able to slack off. Having those days where like I know that I can coast, but I'm better than everyone, so I'll be fine. It kind of prepares you that you got to be ready every day because someone's trying to go at you. Like I said, someone's trying to take your minutes, pretty much. But the atmosphere of where you are, playing against a lot of you know top dudes even on your team is really beneficial for you to you know wanting to improve your game to be better, being around dudes who just love hooping as much as you do. It kind of just inspires you to like, man, he's getting all these shots up, I should probably get shots up also, to be more on top of your game and everything. So I definitely think not even just the games aspect, but the practices with a lot of really good dudes, helps in a lot.
Now that first year you go out there, that was a super special team. 36-2, you guys ended up finishing up with. You guys get the number one seed in the playoffs too. How special was that team?
Uh, I don't think you can make another team like that, to be honest. Like I said, 12 dudes all went D1. And we're pressing the whole game and making mass subs and just waves of dudes who can play at the next levels. Just really crazy to me.
Mhm.
Um, you know, um, and the crazy thing is like everyone was happy to see each other exceed. Some days, you know, it sucked, but everyone uplifted each other to know that we're all going to be okay and we're all going to get to where we want to be. Um, it was a really crazy special year, and being around different types of guys from all over the United States, and us clicking like that, and winning, going 36-2 and winning that much. And we've known each other for maybe, we didn't even know each other until we got to campus, and then now we've been there from August to early March. Is just crazy to think about.
Then, like you said, you want to spend one extra year to then take a post grad year, and you guys go 29-8 that year, and you have a much bigger opportunity to kind of grow that season too. But walk us through that final year of playing high school basketball, like your post grad year.
Well, I definitely stayed another year. Like I said, I didn't think I was ready,
Mhm.
just physically, mentally. No, I didn't. I had confidence, but I didn't think my confidence was very high. I doubted a little bit if I was ready, and it was going to be able to produce at the next level. So I stayed another year. But the next year I think was the best thing for me. Just learning that I can play with anyone, and I can really score the ball. Really just gave me a lot more confidence, just with my numbers improving from my first year to my second year. And just having, like I said, a little bit bigger role in the team, and you know being able to be a leader by example, and be a leader vocally. But just staying another year and improving myself and just making the right decision where to go to school. Definitely helped me in the long run, I think.
So let's go through the recruiting process then. You come out as a three-star top 400 player, but you have a lot of nice offers on the table for you, and Oklahoma State was in the mix. Schools like Montana, Arkansas, Nebraska, Washington State, obviously UMass as well. But walk us through that process and why you decided to go with Coach McCall and UMass.
Well, first, more of it was the pandemic happened.
Hmm.
So A lot of schools that I could have went to, I didn't ever really like visit the campus as I wanted to, because I was going to take visits after the season,
Mhm.
pretty much. And then the pandemic happened, so everything, canceled, and you couldn't do anything. So there wasn't a lot of campuses that I was, able to visit. And just going somewhere where you've never been, sometimes isn't ever sometimes be the wrong thing, because it's not as green as you think it is. But a picture can make it look a lot better than it actually is. So plus with Coach Bergeron and already knowing some guys on the team, and just having like a lot of really good relationships with the coaches at UMass, and they've been watching me play for the last 2 years. They kind of just really knew my game, and um, plus like I said, all my teammates and Coach Bergeron there, like it felt more like a comfortable decision. Um, knowing that I already know some people on the campus, and um, you know, I'm knowing some people on campus, and knowing the guys, and going somewhere where I know that I can compete for some really big minutes. Really factored into my decision, so that's why now, like going to Missouri, it's kind of like scary. Like, oh man, I don't really know anyone, but it'll be okay.
How did that all go down? Where you go with Trey, Preston, Noah? Like, how'd you guys all manage to team up at one school in college?
I don't know. That's it's crazy to even think about. I know, like we talked about it, it's like, nah, we're not going to do that, and a year later, we're all at the same school. But it was really cool just being around guys I really liked, and us already knowing each other's game pretty well. Really, just made the chemistry a lot more easier. Kind of just like the trust level and everything was really good. So I think um, you know it came to us a lot faster, and we wanted to all us teaming up. We wanted to be like our first year Woodstock team. Go 36-2, and change the UMass culture around. I mean, kind of stuck with all the pen delays that we had with COVID, and even uh, the Capitol storming. We had a game and they got canceled, and all our pauses. So it was kind of hard to really get in a flow during this season. But definitely it was really cool. Playing with what how many teammates? Cairo, DeAndre, Trey, Noah, TJ, five, six of teammates. So it was really cool, having all of them around and since high school.
Now, one guy specifically I want to touch up on is Trey, and we know he's also in the portal. He's narrowed down a couple different schools he's finally going to look at, but I personally think he's one of not going to be the best center in the country next year. He's a very special player. But like you said, you've got to see him now for the past few years. Like you've seen him kind of develop into this name, the spotlight he now has. So how special is Trey, and what's it been like seeing him grow into who he's become?
Trey is really special. Just I pretty much say he's a shorter version of Tim Duncan, but he's Tim Duncan.
Mhm.
Just more with a better shooting ability. But he's just so fundamental, and he's a guy that is always in the gym, no matter what. He's getting shots up, or he's getting extra lifts, or you know treating his body. But he lives in the gym. He's always there. And just seeing him over the years, from my first time playing against that Woodstock to playing him at UMass. He's just got so much better, and he's really changing his body around, and he's got a lot more thinner, and leaned out. But he's just so good. And he's working on so many different aspects of his game that makes him so versatile and hard for other forwards and centers to guard him, because he can stretch out the floor, or he can really post up, and his game is just so good that you don't want him to do that at all. You try to your game plan is to try to get him in foul trouble early, but he just impacts the game so much that it's he's a nightmare matchup.
The other guy I want to touch up on is Carl. He was the veteran on the team last year. I know he kind of was the leader. He's also moving on to Rice now for his final year. But how impactful was he in that locker room? Like, discuss your relationship with Carl and how big he was for you guys last year.
Carl's like a big brother to me. You know, when I first arrived on campus and even before, he texted me, pretty much just asking, general things about how I am and, you can't wait to, play with me and all that. But, he really, this year just, brought me under his wing and, just taught me a lot about the game. And, he's such a great shooter that, he'd always, talk smack about, being the best shooter and all that. But, just in the locker room, he was such of a leader that, everyone wanted to follow by example, because he was always in the gym no matter what. And, you never really seen Carl make mistakes. And everyone wants to be like that, and, follow by example. But, Carl really just, like I said, brought me under his wing and, taught me so much more things about the game and just the life aspect that I'm really gonna, work on, forever. But do things to change my game, to be better, this next season.
You ended up getting to start 14 or 15 games last year. Like, you have a massive role on this team last year. Was that what you expected? Like, did coach tell you we want you to be one of the premier players on this roster? Like, did you expect that for your season? Did it kind of shock you? Like, were you expected to have more of a rotational role? Like, how did you feel that you were going to be able to play and the opportunity you had heading into the season?
Um, I mean, I always thought I was gonna have a role of playing a good amount of minutes.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't think right away I'd play so much minutes, just because it's freshman,
Mhm.
kind of, and it's college basketball, so it's like, yeah, we're gonna let you, flow into the game, and then if you keep on, producing, you'll start getting a bigger role. But they told me, they see me playing a lot of minutes for them, and I could be really impactful. As long as I keep on working it, each and every day in practice. But I didn't think at first I'd play as much minutes just because of being a freshman. But um, I really got a really big role.
And so you were able
Uh,
to go out there and you averaged 9 points, 5 rebounds. You played pretty solid, but how do you feel you did this year? Like, was it as good as you could have done? Do you think you could have done a little bit better? I mean, obviously the COVID stuff and pauses affected it, but like in terms of you on the court, how do you feel you did this year?
I think the first couple of games a little hesitant, not wanting to make bad mistakes, or freshman mistakes. But um, I think I did all right. I don't think I showed a lot of what I could do. I think this next season there's a bigger opportunity to show how versatile our game really is, and show it on a bigger stage. So I think all in all, my season I did okay. I don't think I did what I could have.
Now you guys only played 15 games. You guys went 8-7 this past year. Like, it was a really up and down season with the COVID break. Like you said, the capital thing caused you guys to miss a game. Like, this whole season was up and down for you guys, a lot of teams in the country, but especially you guys this year. So how did you personally as a player adjust to dealing with all these pauses, breaks, ups and downs of the season?
It was really hard. Um, More just because we would have a flow, and then all of a sudden we'd stop playing, and kind of just lost a rhythm for a little bit, and felt rusty because quarantines was like 10 to 14 days off. So plus like with our conditioning, it pretty much just went away after quarantine for not being able to really do too much. um so it was definitely a grind, but mentally, um, mentally, it was hard just with everything that happened throughout the year. But you kind of just got to get through if I can get through this, I can get through anything. And really just, push through the year. And it's not the way we wanted our season to go, but I'm glad that we got to play at least.
Absolutely. Let's get this big move now. You mentioned earlier you're going to Missouri, but take us through this whole transfer portal time. Like you go in there, you enter your name, and I'm sure there's a lot of schools obviously reach out to you. So walk us through the decision. What other schools were heavily in the mix for you, and why you ultimately chose Mizzou?
Um, I was talking to Cincinnati, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, LSU, and Xavier. But that was just some of the schools, and there was a lot like low majors. It was low majors and high majors, but a lot of really good programs. But kind of just figuring out who was contacting me just to fill rosters, but and then who was contacting me to, who was actually really interested and wanted me on their roster to help them get better. Ultimately, like picking Mizzou, like I had a relationship before, and I had offer from them back in the day, but just them reaching out and really building a relationship with my family and just how general the coaches are, really meant a lot to me. And plus, this last season, they lost a couple of players, but they're still a really good team. And this next season we're going to be a really young team, but I think we have a chance to be really good with a young team, but just like a lot of opportunity to be able to compete for minutes, is really important to me. And just ultimately playing at the SEC is kind of hard to pass up on that.
So was there a number two school? Like if you think about all the schools that were offering you that were heavily interested in you, was there like a number two school? Like if Mizzou wasn't in place, that would have been the school you probably would have went to?
Probably Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, let's head into the season because, like you said, last year they were a tournament team, pretty solid roster. They had a lot of different chemistry issues, kind of been talked about now in public, but you guys kind of have a lot of guys move on. You guys add in a really special group so far. Mari, I'm super high on. Dejuan, I think he's gonna be special. You add in yourself, a top 50 recruiting class coming in, like all these different components walking into this team next year. How good do you think this team can be?
I think the sky's the limit. Definitely going to be a lot of learning aspects with guys that haven't really played yet, that are going to play. But plus, even me, playing from a mid major to a high major is going to be a little bit of a difference. But like I said, I think the sky's the limit for us. It really just depends how much we get along, the chemistry is, and if we play the game how Coach Martin wants to play, I think we can be really good.
And Coach Moore is a special coach. I'm super high on. He's obviously done great things so far in his career out there. But what's he like on the personal level? You've got to talk to him now, got on the phone, just kind of discussing what he wants from you. But how about him on the personal side, like away from basketball? What's his personality like?
Really genuine dude. A, a guy who really wants to, make a change in the world. I was talking to him a little bit ago, and he said he was going to, talk to some police officers about just everything that goes on in our society. I kind of told him that's something that would be really uncomfortable for me, but he said, you got to start somewhere. On and one side has to start, making a change, and he, did his part. Plus, every year, the Mizzou men's basketball team wins, like community, like helping around the community. So uh, time with a coach, and even in college, winning community awards and having the men's team help out in the college community is really different. You don't really see that too often. So I think that's really speaks about his character and how he really cares about his players, but also cares about how his players, form into, really good young men in the end.
So what about for you? Like, what are you bringing to Mizzou? Obviously, you mentioned that you have a high character. I mentioned a little bit earlier you have a passing aspect to your game. You're just a team player, but kind of walk us through your game. Like, what will you be bringing to Mizzou this year?
Um, no, I think I'm bringing like a really, versatile game. Just being able to score, and like you said, pass and you know, pretty much do like a little bit of everything. But I think you know aspect I think I can be really good on, is on the defensive side, and just being able to guard many different other positions this year. If that's asking coach to go guard the point guard, or go guard the center, just going out there and being able to do that. Really, just impact the game in many ways, and maybe it's not always on the stat sheet, but it impacts the game in some way, and I think I can bring that to this year.
Absolutely. Well, you are a guy also, like I said, coming in now throughout the transfer portal, but because of last year of COVID, like it didn't count towards eligibility. So theoretically, you kind of are coming in as a freshman if you want to look at it that way, like where you have a potential 4 years if you want to use the extra year of eligibility. So if you look at it in that aspect, you have 4 years of college basketball if you take it. What's all the things you think you can accomplish throughout this career now?
Getting like my degree, or when I graduate, getting my master's, but kind of just being a freshman again, but getting to actually experience a real year, college. I didn't really get that at UMass, but experience in a real year of college, and different aspects of a different university. I think that's what really is up next.
So you could sum your entire self up into one word, like your personality, both on and off the court, you as a basketball player, you in school, you in the community, you around family, like everything that comes around with Ronnie DeGray. What's that one word that describes you?
Outgoing, outgoing, definitely.
Without a doubt, man. Well, a couple more things before I let you go. One which is something you have in your Instagram bio, not average. Take us through what that means to you and why you have that there.
Um, I've had that for ever since high school, but um, I think I put that. Well, I don't think, but I put that more just because I just never thought I was an average player. I always thought I was a special talent. Maybe I'm not the highest ranked, but I feel I can play with anyone at any level. So that's why I've always had not average in my bio.
Absolutely. Well, something I like talking about too is building a legacy for yourself because I know all you guys want to establish that. So when you are done playing basketball someday, what do you want to be remembered for what you achieve both on and off the court?
That's a good question. If it was off the court, I'd probably want to be more remembered as just a caring person. And does a lot for people more than himself. Um, really just above and beyond, and able to you know talk to anyone about anything, no matter what, and not be. He's not a person that judges anyone. You know, I think on the basketball court, just being remembered as a guy that can do it all. Um, that's how I see myself.
Absolutely. Well, I know you're also a believer, so kind of walk us through your faith a little bit. How have you seen God help get you to the point you're at today?
Um, I've definitely been trying to get closer to God for sure. I think in general, just being able to uh, be in this predicament in life of being able to go to a university um, that really cares and wants for me as a blessing. Going to school for free and get an education. You can't ask God too much out of that, but just Him, leading my life with my open arms out is just really meaningful to me, and just learning more about God, and how He's led His people. Just it's really interesting, and the more I learn is, the more my faith grows stronger for him. I know there's, a lot more aspects I can learn, and, I try to read my uh, Bible app every day, talk to family about God, but, just each and every day is a blessing, and I'm glad that I wake up every day.
For sure. Well, final thing before I let you go, give Mizzou fans your three biggest goals you have set for your Mizzou career.
Um, Three biggest goals. Um, I think before my time ends at Mizzou, I want to be on a first team All SEC. That's not easy, but definitely a goal I can work and attain to.
Mhm.
Um, get to the Final Four at least for Coach Martin. Just to win. And just being another Mizzou Tiger that is impacted the world. Getting a degree, and getting a job somewhere else, and knowing that I was a Mizzou Tiger. So I think that's my biggest three goals right there.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate taking time to come on today. Congrats to the big move once again, and I'm excited to see what God's got next for you, man.
Thank you.
Of course, those will come on, man. God bless.
Peace. God bless.